As we look at many of our recommendations, we realize that the next big challenge is implementation. In fact, Prime Minister, last year when we were submitting our report to the nation, emphasized the fact that Knowledge Commission must spend little more time on looking at the implementation. So we've been working with various government agencies in the central government, as well as we are now going out to state governments. We are in touch with, I believe, about 17 or so state governments, working closely with 4. During my last visit, I had an opportunity to go meet governments in Orissa, Rajasthan, Andhra Pradesh, and Delhi. So we recognize that the next big challenge is going to be to take a lot of these ideas, develop consensus, and start execution. Fortunately, in the 11th plan, Government of India has decided to spend close to $70 billion on education. I believe the 11th plan is all about education, education, education from our perspective. This is a significant achievement for all of us, that government is willing to put the kind of resources that we need to improve education. Now, the challenge is up to us as to how we use this resource to implement at various levels. With this background, I'd like to focus on specific recommendations related to higher education. As we all know, only 8 to 10% of our children get to go to college in India. We believe that number ought to be close to 20% if we are to build a strong foundation for the knowledge society in the next 20 years to come. There are essentially 3 fundamental challenges in higher education. One is expansion, increasing number of seats, increasing number of colleges, increasing number of universities. 2, excellence, to improve quality of education. Leaving aside top 5-7% of our universities, the overall quality of education is not that great. The third is really access. How do we make sure that the poorest of the poor will have access to the best education in the country? For these 3 set of recommendations, we have outlined specific details in our report. First, create many more universities. We have roughly 350 universities. I am told in the last few months we have given licenses or permission for more deemed universities. But we really need somewhere from 1,000 to 1,500 universities. That doesn't mean we need to create all new universities from scratch. I think we have a fair amount of potential in our affiliated colleges. Some of our universities have large number of affiliated colleges. I am told, for example, that the universities in Andhra Pradesh would have 1,100, 800 affiliated colleges. Bombay University has 600 or so. I think it is about time to separate colleges from universities, so universities become a focal point for institutions of higher learning, more research. And this is critical at this stage in the development. For expansion, we also believe that we need to create a regulatory mechanism like we have had in telecom to provide level playing field for private and public. Because expansion is going to come from 1, existing institutions, 2, by creating new governmental institutions, And 3, by inviting private to set up more colleges and universities. For this, we'll have to recognize that the entry will have to be pain-free and free. Quality would be very critical, and as a result, the regulatory mechanism should not only look at simplifying entry, but also improving quality, setting standards. For example, I know in US, many universities create their own self-assessment as part of the review mechanism. I think it is important for regulatory mechanism to constantly monitor quality and provide answers to improving quality. The regulatory mechanism is something that requires different kind of a mindset, and it hasn't found a lot of support in the system. We are not talking about eliminating one or two of the existing institutions. We are really talking about augmenting these institutions, refining their functionalities, and putting them in tune with what is needed today as opposed to what they have been doing based on the fact that they were set up 40, 50 years ago. We need to increase public spending on education, and we are all happy that the government has decided to take significant steps in that direction. We also recommended that we establish 50 new national universities. Prime Minister has already announced setting up of 30 national universities, which are really truly national in character, where you can share resources, seamlessly transfer credits, make sure that you can spend a year at one place and without too much of hassle go spend second year somewhere else. Then there are set of recommendations related to reforming existing universities. There is so much inefficiency built into the existing system. We need to provide our vice chancellors with more autonomy, flexibility, freedom, financial resources. Only through this kind of autonomy will be able to improve the performance of the existing universities. We talked about restructuring colleges, undergraduate colleges, and we also need to pay attention to improving content, coursework. A lot of our course material is not relevant anymore. We need to really look at the realities of today as to what the market, business, government need, and the society in general. Respond to that need by redoing some of the courses. Finally, to improve access, we'll have to increase funding, provide loans, scholarships, and at the same time pay attention to fee structure. We all accept the fact that the fee structure we have today cannot meet the financial needs of the good university. Fees will have to increase slowly but substantially. These are some of the key areas of recommendations that we have submitted. There is already a fair amount of debate and discussion on it, and we hope you all get to focus on these recommendations. Ultimately, the challenge lies in providing more opportunities and improving quality of education. For this, we need to also look at new tools and new technology, reforming the methods of learning, improving learning practices, upgrading teachers,